right. I mean, shoot,
Can't do this alone.
what is there to say about this game that probably hasn't already been said? Like, I know a lot of people, for whatever reason, don't think that this is a Final Fantasy game, but I found nothing but Final Fantasy references and feelings according, as I played throughout this game. The visuals alone are incredible. This is absolutely taking advantage of the PS5. The voice acting was superb. I've probably never heard any better voice acting in a game than this one. The story was pretty good. My biggest thing with these stories is they're, kind of not really convoluted, but they're very like above your head kind of thing. And so when you're playing the game, you kind of like, especially if you have to take like time off in between playing, like it just kind of goes over your head a little bit. But they actually did a really good job telling the story and then kind of like wrapping it up there at the end. It seemed a little weird because you got to this, you like ran up to this like final fight with Ultima, and then when you beat him, there's like this whole other level, and then you go back and you kind of do like the I'm going away, this is it, I got to do this for the rest of mankind kind of like moment there where it kind of a little bit of a Debbie Downer. But then you go into the fight, and there's really not like a level or anything. It takes you right into the fight, which is kind of cool, because there's 3 phases of it. That's kind of becoming a common theme. But I mean, we've seen that as far back as Final Fantasy, at least 6 that I can think of. Probably 2, where Zero Miss, I believe, was like a certain way, and then he used an item right away, and he turned into his final form. But much more like Kefka, where you have like the tower that you go through and then you get to him. So that's been, the multiple boss fights of the final boss it has kind of been a motif going a long ways. But I mean, you still have the Defying Fate. You have the once well-renowned warrior of a beloved kingdom gets tarnished and his reputation is trash, and he has to like reinvest in himself. You have this other kingdom that's that has succumbed to our inner desires of greed and ambition and all this stuff, and you have to fight back against them. And it's very, very Final Fantasy storytelling, in my opinion, and I think it's as good as any of the stories that I've seen so far. I do think this is going to get nominated for Game of the Year. The gameplay was fantastic. There were a few times when it just kind of seemed like I wasn't connecting right, but that could just be me. Like for the most part, it was very smooth, very easy. I don't want to say easy because it was kind of difficult to learn. You had to learn all these different techniques that you had. And the point of like switching back and forth to one, even at the end there, you can kind of see that I wasn't using a whole lot of my abilities at certain times just because I didn't know when I had an opening to do so. And so it is one of those games that like values replay, which I dig, because I still got to, if I want to get all the achievements for this, I still have to go through it at least one more time on fantasy mode, whatever that happens to be. I think that's hard mode. But there's still, a bunch of hunts to do that are really fun. There's a bunch of side quests that I've heard people complain that, oh, it's just to go get this or go kill that guy. That's side quests and everything, man. That's side quests in Starfield right now. I think the gameplay was fantastic. I enjoyed it a ton. It reminded me a lot of kind of like a combination of 10-2 and 13, where depending on the character you were choosing, if you were Gara, if you were Ifrit, if you were Phoenix, Odin, Bahamut, whatever, Titan, you had the different attacks that you could do. But if you master those attacks by upgrading them, then you can use them with any character, which is, in my opinion, kind of cool. Like, it gives you the ability to use certain people's abilities, but also, get the, instead of doing the... Instead of having all the Titan stuff, if you just want the Titan block counter, then you can use that too, which I thought is very cool, because it gives you a lot of like customization in your character build, whichever you choose to do, which is, in my opinion, very cool. It's fairly new, outside of a few job classes that we've had throughout the Final Fantasy experience. So that was a unique way to kind of bring that back into existence. Now, there were some things that I kind of disliked about it. You know, for instance, I brought this up several times. I wish you could kind of give commands to your other helpers. You know, your other teammates. I kind of understand why you don't. You know, you play the story as Clive Rosfield, but at least if I could set it up for, you know, Jill when she's with me, I want her to cure more often or less often. I want her to attack enemies I'm not attacking, or I want her to attack enemies that I am attacking. You know, so there could be more pre-planning and setting up how the fights go along, in my opinion, but it didn't drag away from the gameplay at all. Now, you know, I just said I do imagine this is going to probably get nominated for Game of the Year, and it really deserves to do so. But if I'm being completely honest, I'm still personally giving it to Zelda, and that is nothing to do with this one. This is probably one of my top. Right off the bat, I could probably say this is probably one of my top 5 favorite Final Fantasy games. I enjoyed the crap out of this one, but I keep going back to, you know, Zelda and the building the devices and the stuff and using your hand to like create things and connect things and build bridges and stuff like that. The story of Zelda, I still think I'm giving it to Zelda. The fact that it looked the way that it looked on a 1080p product as opposed to this guy, which is it might be 4K. I'm not sure. But I expect the graphics to be better on a PlayStation 5 than I do on a Nintendo Switch. It's just a better machine. So, you know, graphics-wise, I still kind of give the edge to Zelda. Story-wise, I really enjoyed the story of both of these games. But if I'm being realistic, Zelda was a little bit more memorable than this one. So, while I do think it does deserve to be nominated for Game of the Year, I'm not quite sure that I would put this as at the top. I still think Zelda's got a slight edge on this guy, but it's the two of them so far, by far, you know, and we played a lot of good stuff. Dead Space Remake, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4 Remake. I'm trying to think. I know there's so much more that I haven't even thought of. Starfield I haven't like super loved, but I mean I can see that being nominated as well. And we've got a bunch of stuff coming up. You know, Spider-Man 2. But I just right now, if the Video Game Awards were today, it would be slightly Zelda, and then this guy would be the number 2. Like this was an absolutely fantastic game. I believe I bought the digital deluxe edition. Maybe not. It depends on what the bonus gifts were. But I bought this at full price. I pre-ordered it a couple of days before it was released, and I am completely satisfied that I did. I would buy it full price today. Matter of fact, after having played it, I might be convinced to spend the extra $10 and get the digital deluxe version. Again, it's got to give me stuff in the game. Like I'm not down with the hey, download the digital audio files. Like that's not worth the $10 in my opinion. But if they give you like items and stuff in the game, this would be worth a digital deluxe purchase. I give it 2 huge thumbs up. 2 huge thumbs up. This was absolutely phenomenal. And if you've been looking for a good single-player, action-oriented game, this is it for sure. This is it for sure. Like this, I enjoyed this more, not by much, I guess. Really, I mean, Jedi Survivor was fantastic, but this I think was better fighting because you had to kind of learn how to play it at first, and it doesn't really hold your hand. There are certain moments where you have to kind of know what you're doing, but it also doesn't like shat on you so much that you kind of want to get to that point where you kind of give up, right? And so I think it's got just a tad advantage over the gameplay of Jedi Survivor. Not to take anything away from Jedi Survivor, but I think it's going to come down to Final Fantasy XVI and Tears of the Kingdom. In my opinion, I'm kind of still giving it to Tears of the Kingdom, but that is no slight to this. I 100%. 2 thumbs up. Highly recommend. Do yourself a favor. If you're a Final Fantasy fan, play this game because it is awesome. It is a great game, great story, fun time. And I mean, before I just kind of keep rambling on, that's all I really got to say about this. It was fantastic, and I'm glad we played it. And I hope there's DLC. If there's DLC, I'm buying it first day. You know, because this was an absolutely fantastic game, and it's probably one that I'm gonna spend the time to get all the trophies with. So, two huge thumbs up when it comes to this game. You should buy Final Fantasy XVI if you have a PS5, 100%.